everybody, Janine here. And if you're on the replay, comment replay. I'll be sharing what an elite prep school or elite prep homeschool looks like. I'll be sharing inside Blue Manor Academy, and I will be talking a little bit about the differences between a regular public school education and an elite prep school education. As you join me, make sure you comment below with what state you're from and tell me a little bit about your kids. So I'm going to jump right in. Last night was a little bit of a mess. I was listening to the replay and there was this high-pitched screeching sound. It sounded like one of my toddlers was screaming. It was not one of my toddlers. It was actually the speaker. And so I have a little mic on. Hopefully it's working today. If you guys can hear me okay. Testing. So I have a little mic, so we're all set to go here, and hopefully it'll have better sound and not make everybody cringe. So I am going to go really fast right now because it was long last night too. So I'm going to go really fast and just introduce myself. I'm Janine Latulip. I'm a homeschool mom of 8. I've been doing this for about 11 years now. We've homeschooled from the beginning, but I was a public schooler. And so I got caught up in that public school model and I tried to recreate at home, recreate it at home. And it was very stressful and I didn't have as much joy in it as I do now. So when I met my husband, I really didn't know that he went to this elite prep school. I kind of knew, but he didn't explain it to me at first. And so when we had our first child and we started talking about education, my husband kept bringing up this elite prep school. And so he started to do more research and he discovered how much they really cost because he knew he wanted that kind of education for his children because the experience was night and day between public school, even a very small private Christian school, and the elite prep school that he attended. So hopefully I am in the right place. Let me know in the chat. Okay, I see one person watching. Good. Okay, perfect. So when I met him, he explained this experience that he had, and it totally transformed his life. And he really believes it saved him. So we knew that we wanted something like that for our children, but we wanted a huge family. So he knew that elite prep school wasn't in the budget, and it definitely wasn't something that we could do with multiple children. So we set out to find a homeschool curriculum that had some of the principles that elite prep schooling offered, and we couldn't find anything. And that really is the pivotal point where he started to make things for my daughter. And one of the neighbors came over. We would babysit her kids sometimes, and she saw how much Audrey was learning and just the excitement that Audrey was having over this curriculum. And so she said we should market it. We should let other people in on this. And that's kind of what we did from then on. So what is an elite education? Elite prep schools are highly effective. If you haven't heard, only 0.5% of the population are prep schoolers, but prep schoolers make up the last 4 of our presidents. You guys, most of our senators, most of our governors, lots of people in the news, the CEO of Disney, one of the CEOs of Disney, they all went to prep school. These people are running the country. So what are they doing? And what's another question to ask is, why aren't they implementing that in the public education system? So one of the things that was really different that Britain picked up on was the motto for his elite prep school, which was Fork Union Military Academy. You can go look that up. But they had a mantra, and it's on one of his sweatshirts that he wears. And he always tries to he has like a little rip in the pocket, and he always tries to get me to sew it up for him. But I'm a horrible sewer, so I always try to avoid that. But anyways, it says on the sweatshirt, body, mind, and spirit. And our public schools, they only focus on the mind and not the whole child. So in Blue Manor Education or Blue Manor Academy, we try to incorporate some of these different principles for you, and I'll be showing that to you in just one second. So another thing that's really different is their curriculum is made up of some of the same elements as public school. However, they also teach the subjects of greatness, and they combine those two. So they combine essential information that every child should know with the subject of greatness. And I will show you some of those in just 1 minute. So this really matters to know about these elite prep schools. It really matters as Christians because we are being attacked in society, and there's a battle that is, it's an early battle, but there's a battle brewing, and we are getting discriminated against in the workplace. We are, our influence in the culture is very minimal. And so our motto at Blue Manor Education is to help you raise children for greatness for the glory of God. We want to raise champions for Christ. So if you think of some of your favorite heroes, favorite Christian heroes, especially modern Christian heroes, maybe like Lila Rose or Matt Walsh or something like that, right? Think of some of your favorite people. Well, we don't have very many of them. If you research the most wealthy people in the country or people who are in government at the highest levels, there are very few Christians, and we need more of them so that we can ensure our children have, they're able to live out their faith and have jobs and live their life, right? So we need some of those heroes. And I know when we talk about that, some parents are like, oh, they don't really believe that their children could be this great person. And even if you don't go on to be a millionaire or to be the governor or anything like that, your children will be living faithful lives. And if you adopt some of our principles, they are going to have it better than you, right? And that's kind of what we all want for our children. And you don't know the ripple effects that can make. You don't know who your great-grandchildren are going to be, right? Those saints that we all love, they have parents. And by instituting these little things, these little changes, and acknowledging that the public school system is not working, we can change the trajectory of our children's lives just by a slight change. If you think of walking in a straight line and then you veer off a tiny bit, at first, there's not much difference between the two paths. But after a while, the point, the space between becomes a lot larger. So this is a really important question to ask if we want to successfully homeschool our kids is, where did this public school model come from? And are the things that they're teaching important to our kids' lives? Or are the way that they're teaching it, for example, a lot of the moms last night that came said they're intimidated by teaching math. When I think of my math experience, I took calculus in high school actually, and I don't use any of it. So all that time agonizing over tests and all of those things, it was a total waste. And I could have been doing so many more meaningful things, like learning about health and learning about wealth and wealth building and the skills that I really need to live in life. And so schools are not taking the essentials and applying it to our kids' lives so that they can use it in their life, right? So if they taught math, why don't they teach it in a way where we can actually use it, right? Okay, so let's jump inside right now and take a look at Blue Manor Homeschool Academy, and I will show you some of the principles or some of the subjects of greatness using the Academy as an example. So if you guys can let me know if you see this okay. I'm gonna go jump to my window. Okay, perfect. Can you see my little arrow? All right, awesome. Okay, so once you get on Blue Manor Academy, you're just gonna click this 30-day free trial right here and enter in all of your information. And then you will end up on the parent dashboard. You will have to enter your credit card for the 30-day free trial. It is $25 per student account. However, if you want to share that with multiple students, that's totally fine. We totally understand that. And with one student account, you get access to all the grades. So you don't have to worry about, one registering multiple children if you don't want to. However, we do recommend that you do because it does keep track of all the things that your student does. And then it also has some rewards for you to see how they're doing as well. So once you get to the parent dashboard, there's one thing I want to mention before we get started, because all the things that I talked about in the beginning, the illegitimacy of the public school model, the elite prep school, the subjects of greatness, those are found in detail in the mom's library. So these books right here, they're each, I think, about $16 or $17, something like that on Amazon. So you can find these on Amazon, but we have them all here for you for free, included in your subscription. So if you want to break free of the public school system and learn about how they are conditioning your children for these automatic responses and to basically instill an anti-Christian worldview in your child, you can read Revealing School. You can read all about that. I suggest that you look at the different chapters, and if something pops out at you, then you go look up those specific chapters, because there might be some things that you already know, but definitely check that one out. That will really help you unschool yourself. Then we have Educating for Greatness. This one gives you kind of the overall view of an elite education and how the great aristocracy of the past would educate their children. And if you read Revealing School, you'll understand why that's really important. Then next we have character. Character is king in the elite prep schools. So many times the schools will teach to the mind. They will fill our kids with facts. They will teach to the test. And there's a huge problem with all of these bullying and mental health and all of these symptoms of not training our kids' character or our kids' spirit. So body, mind, spirit, character is a huge part of the spirit. And, you know, your kids they know they get an A in math, or they know how to read at a really high level, but can they go without a meal for a good cause? Or can they give their favorite toys away to someone who's less fortunate than them, right? So this book is all about building really great character in your kids. And then power. Power is talking about the subjects of greatness, and it really breaks down each of these subjects and gives you some great tips on how to implement that into your home. As an elite prep academy, a lot of times they will be boarding schools, because they know that education doesn't happen just in the classroom. Education happens all the time, 24/7. And it's very important to instill different habits into your children. And that will ensure that they do those habits for a lifetime, right? So there can be bad habits that are established. And if you think of public schools where they have your children reacting to bells and they are grading you, so they're telling you, only 80% of this information is important, well, which 80%, right? So it teaches you some of those subjects of greatness and helps you establish those in your home. And we offer all of the resources for you, but we can't necessarily go in to your home and teach your kids, help them practice good character or help them practice some of these subjects of power. But we do have some elements on here. It's just not the full aspect. And that really is where parents come in. And homeschoolers have a unique advantage at this in imparting an elite education in their kids, even more than the elite prep schools, because you have that aspect of love and you have a unique connection to your child. So you're able to tailor their education to their unique person. So I love that we have that opportunity to really rise above and do some great things. So we have more resources for parents right here. We have printables. They can your children can establish a routine with the lesson planning sheets, and we have responsibility charts. So if you like printables and you like the hands-on, then you can use some of those. And then I'll go back to the dashboard. How to use Blue Manor Academy goes into all of the different features. I'm not going to go into everything. I'm just going to focus on some of the unique aspects of our academy. So you can look into those and check out some of those so that you know all the ins and outs. I'm going to go into our daughter Emma's account. So once you click on this, add a student, you will get access to the academy. So here's Emma's. You can click on this little gear. There'll be some special options for you to check out, where this is where you can customize and tailor your education to your child. The public school systems, they are not able to do that, right? And one of the main things that they're not able to do is give your child a gendered education, right? Even saying that could get me in trouble in some schools, right? You know, now not believing a boy is a boy and a girl is a girl, it can be abuse to some people. Some people believe that. And so in our Blooming Our Academy, we want you to be able to tailor based on gender if you want to. And so you can take some books out that your girl might not appreciate, and you can add things in that she might appreciate more. You can take things out that the boys don't like. So that's a really great feature and a unique feature to our academy. So when you go into the dashboard, you'll see all of these different choices. A huge feature of an elite education is it being student-led. And so the future of Blooming Our Academy is really that. We're going to be having students doing a lot of the teaching and the facilitating of practicing the skills that they learn in the curriculum. So if you have an older child and whoops, I zoomed in here. See if I can zoom out. Maybe not. Okay, so I'm going to click on curriculum. So as you can see, we have right now up to 8th grade. However, this is a very advanced curriculum. That is another aspect of an elite education. They usually have advanced curriculum. So if you go into preschool, even though it's preschool, we developed this as a level system, but parents got so confused. They're like, where do I start? We went back to the grades because they're so used to it, right? But really, we want you to think of this as a leveled system where maybe it's like karate, where everybody starts with the same belt, right? So I would have your older children go through the preschool and see if there's anything that they don't know or they haven't heard, because we have some classic poetry in here. We have different number basics. Okay, they're going to know that. But we have empires, so history basics. And we teach in a very different way, where we build on, you know, the simple concepts from preschool into the older grades. So if they have skipped some of the younger grades, they might not learn it as well. So we have empires in preschool that probably a lot of us don't even know. These are the major empires throughout history. And so it's great to give an overall view of history with this book. So there's lots of different books like that. So I just want you to encourage you, if you have older kids, that they go back through the younger grades and see if there's any books that stand out to you and that they need to know. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the library. That's another place if you have older kids to send them, because it's not graded. It just is by subject. So as you can see, we have all of these different subjects. We have character, we have Jane Austen, we have poetry, we have Christian apologetics, we have geography, great speeches, chess, oration. So one of the great subjects of greatness is oration. And if you might think of it as public speaking, but public speaking is very different than oration. Oration encompasses your presence. It encompasses whenever you communicate yourself. And so oration is a great subject for all the different ages. Wealth as well is great for all the different ages. Okay, so if you have older children, or if you have a child who really likes a subject and you want to let them go ahead, then you can go into one of these, you can go into the library and have them do all the books in that specific, or as far as they want, right? And then up here in the corner, let's see, is it up here in the corner? Yes, we have our coins. So everything that they do on the academy, they're going to get a coin for. So they go into here and see if there's anything that she hasn't done. Okay, so if they read Tall Horse, this is a great one. This is one of our unique, or our exclusive chapter books with really great values. It teaches a very valuable lesson. And so they're going to go into here and they can read it. And you can have them practice reading aloud if you want, or it will read it to them. So it can read aloud to them with this button right here.
Birthday present, chapter 1. It was Kristen's 13th birthday, and she got the present she asked.
So they can read that. And then as they get down here, you'll see this test. So they'll take this test and they'll get a coin for it. And everything they read, they'll get a coin for. So once they read that, they have that chapter read to them, they'll get a coin for that. Now, we don't have prizes for the coins yet because we didn't want that to be a spot that caught your child and became addictive. You might notice that our academy isn't bright and flashy like a lot of the other ones. I would say, what's it called? ABC Mouse. Or if you've heard Reading Eggs, they have started to put agenda in there that is against our Christian views. And so we have dedicated our academy to being low tech. And what I mean by that is we want to have the best of both worlds, where we are utilizing the digital world, but it's not as stimulating to our children. And so the coins can't buy anything. So your kids aren't like playing with their pets or buying all these stickers or, playing around. But you can decide what you want to do with those coins. So a lot of parents will say, okay, you get to pick dessert, when you get this many coins, or we get to go to your favorite park, or, you can buy XYZ, or maybe they get money or whatever, right? It's up to you. You're the parent. And so we let you establish what rewards you want to do with that. Okay. Now, another really important aspect of our academy is the review system. So we have a little game right here. It's called Genius, and it will pick questions from all over the curriculum. So if your child is, in kindergarten and they're doing the learning, and they finish all the animals, right? And then they're working on other things. Well, they can go to Genius and review so that they're not forgetting what they've learned. That's really important. Sorry, guys. We want to make sure they don't forget this essential information, right? Okay. And where am I going here, guys? Next, we have memorization. It's so important. It's so good for brain training. And we have a special system for that. So let me go down to Bible verses. And we'll go to John 3:16 because I know John 3:16. For God so loved the world, right? Okay, good. So the first step is that they just type it. They type it in. So this is great for older kids to learn their typing. I'm a very slow typer. So they just type it, right? And then after that, it will start taking words away so that you are slowly memorizing. Let me go and find, here we go. You're slowly memorizing the information. So I'll go, so it gets harder and harder. So each level will get harder. So you have to type what, counting by fives, and then fill in these blanks here. And then it just keeps getting harder and takes them all away so that you can start memorizing and learning these things. Okay, and you get a coin for each one. Kind of fun. All right, guys. We also have a new feature that really brings in the student-led portion of an elite academy. If you have never experienced real leadership, this is important, because a lot of times in school they'll say leadership class, but it won't really be that. Because the person who's in charge really has to have authority, and they have to be given a platform. So a lot of times you'll have, in student council, for example, you'll have a teacher introduce, what the child has to accomplish. And then they're only allowed to vote on things or whatever, right? It's not real leadership. And real leadership is where kids can take over something, they decide what they're going to do, and then they execute it, right? And so we are going to be able to do that soon with clubs, and we've already started that. So right down here, we have Audrey's Art Club. Audrey has been teaching art to this other students. And so she decides what she's going to teach. She decides the different tasks that the students are going to do, and she runs the whole club. So we facilitate it by being there and making sure that everything is going smoothly and that the kids are being appropriate and all that stuff, but she is running it. And so this is in beta right now. You can go and watch all these clubs, but soon we're going to be opening more clubs and have other students be in charge of clubs. This is our newest feature, is Kids Teach Kids. So this helps children get over that fear of public speaking. So much of our society is in video today, and so videos are so important. And so we give the children a safe opportunity to share their videos and teach other kids things. And I think it's so important to teach because it's the highest level of learning. So when you teach, you have to know the material really well, and then you have to communicate it in an organized way and help, so that the other person understands it, right? And using it just uses a different part of your brain. And so teaching is a very high form of learning. So we give the kids an opportunity. There's no chat, so they're not going to be able to, make weird comments or anything, but they can like the videos and they can see that people watch their videos and things like that. So that's really fun. And if you want to communicate with another student, you can make a video to them, things like that. You can't directly message them, but it's public for everybody to see, right? But sometimes Emma will say hello to certain students in her videos, or that she sees in the different clubs, or another student will say hello to Emma in another video, right? So that's kind of a fun feature. And it also really helps them get comfortable speaking and all of those different things. It teaches so many good things. So that's a really safe way for your children to practice those character building skills. Next, we have challenges. This is really important. It's kind of that competitive edge that a lot of prep schools implement, where they post the grades and they do projects as teams and things like that. They have lots of competitions, but also they have healthy ways for children to demonstrate their character and stuff like that. So we have some of those. Goals is a huge one. I haven't ever seen a school that really goes over how to set goals and how to meet them. And so this really gives your children a chance to set the goals and then come back and evaluate themselves and say, oh, did I meet those goals? Oh, I didn't meet those goals. Okay, what do I need to get those done for the year, right? And so because they're going to be another goal challenge next year, and you get coins for submitting your challenges. So we have these different challenges, and I'll go to Claire. So these are students, real students. And Claire, we know that her parents have read a lot of the Raising Children for Greatness series, that one series that I showed you in Mom's Library, and she's implemented a lot of those things. So again, we've partnered with her, and she has taken the initiative to implement some of these things in her home. So Claire is one of the daughters, and they do this thing that we do where the older children are in charge of the day, of the routine. And so they help get the kids up, and they are student leading their academy, their homeschool, right? So they're getting that leadership experience, and the older kids will decide what to have for breakfast. They will inspect things. Obviously, I help with the breakfast sometimes, parents are there, but we just give them that authority. And so one of her goals is, when I'm corrected by adults and siblings that are in charge, I respond with, I will do that right away, or thank you for telling me. And so Claire has to submit to her siblings when it's their day and when they're in charge, when the other person's in charge. And that is really teaching her to be humble. And so one of her goals is to be better at that. Isn't that so cool? I just absolutely love it. So I just had to show you that. And it's a really fun feature. So we have those challenges. We're going to do some more fitness challenges. So we have just a few right now, but we'll be adding some more. And so with these challenges, you can submit multiple ones, so that if you get better, or if you want to redo, you can go back and redo the challenge and get better and better. and watch yourself progress. Let me see if somebody did the two different ones. Oh yes, so here is Titus. So he has 1 and he has 2. He has 2 different submissions. So as they work on their fitness, they can get better and they can get better. And we're soon we'll be recognizing those students who improve. And so there's so much more to come, you guys. And I just want to encourage you, because I know that was a lot. And thank you for letting me do this second run. But if you have any questions about anything, let us know. Go to bluemanoracademy.com to get your 30-day free trial. After the 30-day free trial, it is $25 per student. And that's access to everything. There's so many resources, and we are adding new things every single day. And then we are going to be implementing so many more features. As new students show up, we just pour all of our earnings back into the academy to make this the best possible homeschool environment as we can, because this is our children's education too. And so we're really invested in it. And so if you have any questions or anything like that, just leave them in the chat below and I will get back to them. Oh, a few questions that we had was, how young can we start? And that's totally up to you as a parent. This is low level tech again. So with the, it's a lot of books basically in the preschool curriculum. So you can start with just, 1 or 2 books a day and build up from there. So if you want to start really young, you totally can. You'll probably create little geniuses. But yeah, that's up to you as a parent. You can start young if you want to. And then a lot of children, or a lot of parents, were asking about math. We're continually adding math. We probably have up to the 5th grade right now. We're continually adding math, and we're doing it in a way that it applies to their life. So for example, we're doing mortgage math, we're doing tax math, things like that. So they're going to be learning the essential principles of math, but applied to those really useful and knowledgeable skills that they need to have a successful adult life, right? All right, guys, thanks so much for joining me. I hope that you are going to join us in the academy and partner with us to raise great kids for Christ. It's all for his glory. In Jesus Christ's name, amen. All right, guys, bye.